December 8th Flood Board meeting is in session. Anyone on Zoom that would like to bring up a topic that is not on the agenda, please raise your hand.
We have no one online and no one in person. It's like so.
Okay. Approval of action minutes of the April 14th meeting. Changes, corrections, move to approve. Roy Wolford.
Oh, huh. Sorry about that. I don't know why. Okay, yeah. Well, I should be able to fill in these blanks. I'm not sure why they're in there.
On page 2, I think that was me, last board member blank. Well, that's all the comments I had on the minutes.
You'll take responsibility for that one. Okay. With those corrections. Second.
Move to approve the minutes.
All in favor? Aye. Approved. Discussion items, 3 check valves, Lucky Drive, Channel Drive, and Golden Hind Passage.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Oh wow, it's some interesting text. Okay. I'm not sure why it's showing up like that, but we'll have to just deal with it. So I think we may have discussed it before, but we're always trying to continue to install more check valves and make improvements to the storm system, keep the tide water out of our storm system whenever possible. So we ordered 3 new of the Tide Flex inline check valves that you put like inside the pipe, and chose 3 priority locations. And these 3 were all to replace existing valves that had failed. So I'll just walk through those locations. So this one is on Lucky Drive, kind of just across from High Canal and right near the boathouse, if you know where that is. And on the picture on the left, you can see that was the old valve, which is just a flapper gate. And obviously it's not doing much because the pipe is pretty much completely corroded. So, and unfortunately now it's very difficult to work in the channel. So the easier solution was just to go to the other, basically further upstream and install the valve there. So that on the picture on the right, you can see that's like looking in through the manhole. You can just see the very edge of it. But basically that will replace the failed flapper gate at the end and should keep tidal waters from flooding onto Lucky during king tides. So that was the first one. The second one is at 131 Golden Hind Passage in Mariner Cove. There used to be a duckbill check valve at the outlet in the channel, but I think I may have shown pictures before. All of those outlets are corrugated metal pipe and they're all corroded, and the old valve had just fallen off. So same reasoning, we decided to put one on the upstream end. So now that area is protected and we shouldn't have tidal water during high tides there. Yeah.
The pipe from like the street and the dock and let out, what material is that?
They're actually in this neighborhood, they're almost all reinforced concrete pipe, but they all have the last stick as CMP. And I think because concrete pipe's too heavy, so it'll tend to like break if you have it sitting out. So yeah, I mean, at some point we're gonna have to deal with all of these because they're all corroding. But for now they're still functioning, so not a problem.
And the triplex, it's the one that's like, it's in a stick of pipe and it's internal, right?
Yeah.
It's the rubber. Fill.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, you kind of you just stick it in and it expands to the inside of the pipe and yeah, it creates a barrier. Yeah, exactly. And I think they are rated to only hold like a few inches of water behind them if there's no water on the outboard side. So most of the water can drain out of the system at a low tide.
And it's really to keep the tide water from, if the creek is higher than the street, then it'll pond in the street until the creek goes high.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, if it's a high tide and it's raining, the water is going to back up, and the check valve can't really do anything in that situation. Yeah. Correct. So this is the third location, 18 Channel Drive. There was an old kind of box type check valve in the storm drain, and it's been leaking and has kind of failed on several occasions. So we finally got the chance to replace that one. And that protects Baja Court is at a really low elevation. So there's been a lot of issues with kind of flooding on that street. So now it should be fully protected.
My neighbors will be very happy that are living there.
Yeah, hopefully they'll
Yeah.
make an improvement. It's funny. There's actually at some point over time they've installed 3 different check valves along the storm drain, but really this one's the only one that's actually doing anything because it stops the water coming off San Clemente Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those 3 are installed. And then we're also just looking at continuing to replace other ones around town that are damaged. These are 2 locations. On the left is right at the base of San Clemente Creek, where it goes under Paradise Drive. And there's a little storm drain with a check valve. It's the same thing. It's a flapper that's all corroded and no longer functioning. So we're looking at to replace that one. And then on Robin Drive, there's a large pipe that drains out there behind the houses. And that one, the issue is every time the tide comes in, it brings in sediment. And so the flapper gets stuck shut, and then water backs up on Paradise and floods. So we're looking at replacing that one with a duckbill or something that won't be as impacted by sediment buildup there. But yeah, just a few other locations.
I thought that Robin Drive location was, the elevation was a little bit higher, and I hadn't noticed it backing up on Paradise, but it does happen there?
On occasion. Yeah, we usually try and address as soon as possible because it usually like inundates the whole road there, but it doesn't happen all the time. It just has to be like the perfect situation where the sediment like blocks that flapper from opening. So our crews have to go there and clean it out all the time.
Mm-hmm. On the other slide at the end of Spindrift, you show 2 check valves. What's that about?
End of Spindrift.
Just the one you had before, yeah.
So let's see. I don't think it's shown completely accurate, but there's a pipe that comes off Spindrift, and that has a check valve on it. And then it empties into this kind of basin. And then there's another pipe that goes through that little berm.
Mm-hmm.
That one has a check valve too. It's kind of unusual.
Yeah, I think it was installed. I don't know why they installed it there. This was before your time. But, normally, I guess now you would install it at the manhole cover in the middle of the cul-de-sac there.
Yeah. I mean, in the past, they were all installed on that outboard side.
Yeah.
But now it's becoming an issue with, how with the pipe material is corroding.
So the other one that I would ask about is the one at 167 and also at 223, because both those seem to have failed on the last round of king tides that we had.
Okay. Yeah. And the 167 is fairly new. So I suspect there may have been something lodged in it, so probably more of a maintenance problem. 223, there actually is no valve there. That area is at a bit of a higher elevation than the rest of the neighborhood, so,
It was pretty flooded.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, so we'll look at that as a future location to purchase these.
Okay.
Uh,
And then the other one is on Key Largo where there isn't one, but
Yeah.
you had done recent work on the road and such, but no check valve went in there because that is starting to flood also.
Okay, yeah, we've never had one there either. And I think that is also it hasn't been as much of an issue, but we can definitely look into it. I mean, these check valves are ten to $15,000 each, so we have to kind of plan ahead budgeting for them. But yeah, we can look at those locations.
But I mean, when the check valves are working, they haven't gotten something lodged in them, they work. I don't think they work totally, but they slow things down enough that it doesn't really get in the street. So all the residents, what they see is the street's still dry, if it's not raining. So I think when they work, they've been great, and it's just a matter of maintaining them and then replacing them as we recognize where other things are starting to flood.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we did all these in-house. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, I think those two are the last two in Mariner Cove that don't have anything there currently. And then, the previous slide was just a few other ones we're looking at replacing because they're not functioning normally.
Chair, if I may, Chris, remind me real quick what a shear gate is, what its function is.
A shear gate is basically just a gate that our staff can open, and the gate basically shuts like straight down over the end of the pipe. So we can manually close it and open it.
That's the one going underneath Paradise, the big one going under.
Yeah, that is a shear gate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's automatic, so it can sense the water level and open and close on it by itself.
And that the channel drive shear gate that Dave was asking about, that's the one that allows some water to get in what's supposed to be wetlands.
It's supposed to, but it no longer functions. So that's on our to-do list.
Okay.
I think it's buried in mud.
Yeah, it seems like very little that there would be some water that would trickle through, but it was very little. And my understanding was that is supposed to be wetlands because I wanted to use that for mitigation for some other project, but it had already been declared wetlands. And unfortunately, it's no longer wetlands. There are a lot of invasive species, trees, and things like that in it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much anytime there's any like protective plants start growing, they just consider wetlands.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah, I think they used to leave that shear gate slightly open so water would trickle through, but eventually it just got plugged and unfortunately it didn't get maintained. So we'll have to repair it at some point.
Yeah.
So any other questions?
So Chris, you mentioned when you showed the first photograph that you wanted to put these inline valves in because it's getting more difficult to work in water. And I presume that's for regulatory reasons. Does the town keep a list of regulatory bodies that have review and approval oversight of in-water items just for our future reference for you, for this board, for the town?
Yeah, we actually have a lot of resources on our website that go through kind of all the regulatory bodies that you need permits from based on where you're working. And for the most part, if it's in the channel, you need permits from all of them. So I can actually send out where we have them saved on our website.
Okay, that's great. I think it's important that it's publicly available because it's going to become more and more relevant as we try to do more and more things on the water side of properties.
And the corrugated metal outfall pipes, is it possible that those could get lined from the street?
Yeah, you could theoretically you'd have to line the concrete pipe as well, just from end to end.
Yeah.
But there's still a question depending on what's involved in the work. You may still need permits if they have to go out on the marsh side to work there. So it's a bit of a gray area, but usually, like, if you ask if you need a permit, they say you need a permit. So yeah.
One thought might be to aggregate all these potential permitting items into one package,
Mhm.
right? And then go before there's actually a body that the Marin County Stormwater MC Stop organizes. Like there's a monthly, at least this is for like homeowners and stuff, to go before all the regulatory agencies and present kind of your project and get feedback. And so I imagine that you could do something like that for a town project, just to, get them all to weigh in so that you're not going, from agency to agency, getting conflicting information and trying to just basically resolve that and kind of, it's like supposed to be a permit streamlining effort.
Yeah, we actually use that. Like that's always our first step if
Yeah.
we know we have to get permits.
Yeah, but if there's like an aggregate of, half a dozen projects, so it's like, yeah, we should just do those and just tackle all the permitting for them at one time. There might be some efficiencies we gain by that.
Mhm.
So Chris, what can you tell us about Caltrans and sea level rise?
Let me just double check. Oh yeah, there's no online still. Okay. Um, I don't know why it's getting cut off. Second. Some reason. Change the text on me, but okay. So yeah, item 4B is Caltrans and Transportation Authority of Marin Sea Level Rise studies. So, oh sorry, I skipped ahead. So starting with Caltrans, Caltrans has initiated a Marin 101 Highway 101 sea level rise adaptation plan, which includes Corte Madera's coastline. And I believe Caltrans has chosen Marin as kind of one of their first places in the state to start doing adaptation planning. So their plan's going to evaluate just the impacts of sea level rise, coastal erosion, storm surge, and other climate-related threats to develop long-term adaptation strategies that protect the corridor and all the users and address the needs of the communities to ensure solutions provide local benefits. Page. So they created a technical advisory committee or TAC. It's made up of local jurisdictions and stakeholders, and are going to do some public outreach as well. And then just a few notes. So we went to their first meeting 2 weeks ago. So they've mentioned, they're going to get all the existing sea level rise studies, from us and others, and build off that to avoid duplicating work. They're going to perform cost benefit analyses for alternatives, and that it also includes do nothing, which I'm sure that's not going to pan out for them. And then currently, they mentioned Caltrans can't make improvements or fund projects outside of their highway right of way, which is a huge problem for them because most of the problems are outside of their right of way. For example, if the Marina Village levee or berm flooded today, it would flood the highway, which becomes their problem. So I think they said they're looking at changing those rules so that potentially they could invest in the town to make improvements to our berms and levees to protect the highway. So that, they've got a long way to go, but at least they're getting it started. So here are some visuals they provided. The top right shows they have like 5 phases, and we're in C, in the blue section. So they're kind of studying Marin in 5 different areas. And then on the bottom is their schedule. So they're planning to complete their study in kind of the end of 2027. Or actually, maybe that might be beginning, winter 2027. So I'm sure they're going to do outreach. So we'll, keep providing updates and let you know if there's anything they're planning for the public. And then now moving to TAM. So, sure.
So is the TAC, people like yourself, like the staff of Public Works and of the local jurisdictions then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's mainly like one representative from each city, town, and
Okay.
county, and I think they may expand it, but right now it's pretty limited to.
And counties also represented?
Mhm. Yeah. So the Transportation Authority of Marin already has a sea level rise study, and so they're building off that to create resilient design guidance for transportation infrastructure. So on the right, that was kind of the front page of their sea level rise adaptation planning. And so they've also created a technical advisory committee made up of local jurisdictions and stakeholders. And the first meeting was also right after Caltrans. I think they planned that together. And then the goal of their work is to create consistent design guidelines for adaptation projects that can be used by all the jurisdictions in Marin, with the goal of having like a coherent solution, from one jurisdiction to the other instead of everyone doing piecemeal adaptation projects. So they're planning to complete this portion in fall of 2026. And this was just a slide from their presentation, which kind of shows what they're working on. So yeah, they have a white paper in spring of next year. They'll publish a draft and then finalize it in the fall.
So Chris, does this involve the Corte Madera Creek, Lucky Drive, where we flood? Sounded like it was north and south of us.
Well, this effort is for all of Marin.
Okay,
Yeah, they're just basically creating design guides that anyone can use.
okay,
So they already did their adaptation study, which was the whole county. And then, yeah, now they're just building off that.
okay.
And then, so yeah, town staff, probably myself, are going to continue to attend both of the agency's TAC meetings and stay involved, and we'll provide updates, as things progress. Any questions? None? Okay. Moving on. So this item is just going over accomplishments from the 2025 work plan and then taking a look at the draft 2026, town work plan. Apologies, let me just get this to fit on the page. Okay, so we attached the 2025 work plan, and apologies, it didn't really come out very easy to read, but I basically pulled out the items that are flood control related. So have them listed here. And so there were 5 items on the actual work plan. So let's see, we had Hart Street Connector Path, which is actually a multimodal project, but we did do some major storm drain improvements based off recommendations in the master plan. So I'll run through that later as a project update as well. The other 4 were we have priority pump station upgrades. That was per the storm drain master plan. So they had for our pump stations, they had short term, and basically the long term is replacing the whole pump station. The short term is just dealing with the immediate issues. So I'll also provide an update on that project later, because that's in the works. Priority storm drain culvert upgrades. We have a project currently in construction, dealing with kind of our highest priority pipes around town. And then the other two, open channel maintenance project. That one, just because we're short staffed, we haven't been able to get off the ground. But the thinking behind that is we basically are combine all of our open channels into a project to try and dredge them out and reestablish, functionality. So at some point we'll get that one going.
Are there wetlands issues, vegetation involved with that?
Yeah, they all will require regulatory permits. So that was kind of the thinking why we want to combine them all and just
Yeah.
deal with it all in one go. And then the Shorebird Marsh pump station replacement. So that was the one pump station that was a very high priority in the master plan. So we've, and I'll give a update on that one too. So these are all projects that were, recommendations from the master plan. So we're starting to implement, based on the results of that.
On the Shorebird pump station, how many hours does that end up operating a month during the winter time? Because I know you like to just open the gates up and let the tide take care of it as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, if we can do that, I mean, it's most used in the winter due to storms.
Yeah.
When we know there's going to be rain in the future, we pump down the Shorebird Marsh just to create capacity for the storm. So,
But do you do that passively first and then pump if you need to pump the rest?
I just because I believe they just use the pumps because the time is of the essence, when a storm's coming. So, they typically just turn it on. I think, yeah, Shorebird, we have gates and I think they do use them if possible, but for the most part, they use the pumps to maintain the level there.
Well, it means with the tides, twice a day, and you're looking at the weather report, you just open up the gate, after a high tide as it's going to be low and then shut it off. That was my understanding of how it worked most of the time. And then the pump would be there if the tide wasn't that low, they had to get it lower, or there was an exceptional storm and it was exceeding the capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Probably in other seasons, like in the summer, they use the gates whenever possible, just so they don't have to fire up the pumps. But in the winter, I think they're used regularly. Yeah, because it's just we don't have to rely on the tides and wait, to fill or lower the.
They're in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But are those set up so that you can open the gates or turn on the pumps, from the courtyard?
The pumps, no, none of it's remote controlled.
Well, will the new pump station be remote controlled that way?
We're definitely going to look at it. Yeah, I think we're looking at options to be able to do that because it would save a lot of time. Particularly like before storms, like our crew has to go out there and change the settings to lower Shorebird Marsh. Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if any of the gates are automatic either. I think those all have to be manually open and closed. That's our oldest pump station, so there's not much automation.
Yeah, that'd be nice if the replacement on that included some energy efficiencies as well as time efficiencies of not having to go out there and do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely looking at that. And potentially upgrading some of the other pump stations that are not being replaced, but we're doing all these improvements. So, yeah, looking at all those options.
Okay.
Shorebird is on electric, right? It's not on diesel generator.
No, actually the pumps are diesel engine.
Okay, so they got to go and refuel them, and so it's a super manual.
Yeah, it's not ideal. So
is doing a PG&E drop, is that in the cards for that then?
yeah,
Okay, well, that's like 2 or 3 years right there.
I know. There's,
As soon as you know you're gonna do it, you should start putting your application.
yeah, we're starting that process very early.
Yeah,
That's kind of
it
priority
takes
number
a
one.
long time.
Yeah. So beyond what was in the work plan, I listed just a few items that we did on top of it. So the top three were just replacing some corrugated metal pipes that we found that are just totally corroded and were basically like there's no bottom of the pipe and there's a sinkhole forming. So those were located at 403 Chapman, Sonora Way at Granada Drive, and then number 60 Corte Madera Avenue. And usually we'd find those during other projects, like we'd be doing like sewer projects and come across these things as we're digging and just, yeah, there's then try and take care of them as we're going. Oh, go ahead. Yep.
At 403 Chapman, is that where the stairs come down? Do you know?
Yes, it's just below that. It was a culvert that kind of went across the street there.
Got it. Okay.
So and then just moving down, the master plan also recommended spending a certain amount of money to start cleaning out pipes and CCTVing. So we initiated a $75,000 project and kind of went around town using the master plan and started cleaning out these pipes and found a lot of like pretty bad areas. Some of them were like 70-80% full of debris. So we got a lot done there. And actually, as part of that, we discovered some issues on Tama Vista. There were two places where we've had consistent flooding. And when they went to CCTV, we found that like somebody had filled the pipe full of concrete. So we were able to clean that out and now they function again, which is great.
Huh.
Can I ask a question about that? So is that in front of where the hotel is on Chama Vista?
Yeah, 45. I forget the name of the hotel. It's also,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Sally Aaron asked me to ask where is that water being diverted to now? Where does the water go?
It's going the same path it did. It always drained out to a ditch next to the freeway, and then it runs along the freeway, and then it goes under to Shorebird Marsh. So we had always assumed the ditch was the problem, but it turned out the pipe was like almost completely full of debris, and there was that concrete plug in the pipe, so it was just barely able to drain out. So since we've done that repair, it looks like it's functioning normally again.
So the water didn't get redirected into Lagoon 1.
No, because we were actually going to include that in this 2025 storm drain replacement project, and we realized we didn't need to. So we're just monitoring it this winter, but it looks like it's working now.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been really good. And we're going to keep doing it. Our main basically roadblock with that is it's become really difficult to find a place to, when we clean out the pipes, like what to do with it, because we have almost no space to deal with in town, and the dumps won't take wet material. So you have to like go drop it somewhere, filter out the water, let it dry out, and then you can take it to the landfill, and they charge you an arm and a leg for that. So it's been really difficult. We had to bring in all these tanks, and we had to pump out the water, settle it out, and then get rid of the water. So we ended up spending like maybe $25,000 or $30,000 of the 75 just dealing with the debris. Yeah. So it's a challenge, and I know other agencies in Marin are dealing with it too, because they're just like there's no real estate to deal with that stuff. So that's going to be an ongoing issue. Just trying to.
Is any of the material that you're taking out capable of being used to build up the levees?
I mean, I don't know if it'd be the most ideal, but it's mostly aggregate, so you could probably it's like mud and aggregate and other things. So yeah, you could probably use it if you needed fill somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if we had permits to raise the levees, and as that material was available and it would go out on it, then the water would settle out of it there and eventually compact down and gradually get the levees to raise up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be an option. It's just, it's timing is the problem because, if we ever got permission to build the levees, it's going to be like a race to build them up.
Well, maybe that'll be part of the Caltrans project because those levees, protect 101.
Yeah.
And, this would be good opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how long well, I know how long their study is going to take, but then after that, how long they'll identify funding and, provide that. So that's the question, how long we can wait. But
I mean, if we had the permits or, they allowed that, then, as you extract these things, excavate these things, that would be the place to put it.
yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So is it come out like as a slurry then, basically, is it like a Vector truck? Is that what you're using for it?
Yeah, they're like using high pressure water to jet the material and then they
Okay.
suck it out. So it's like, yeah, it's in a kind of slurry mix.
Okay, so it's the dewatering of that plus
Yeah.
the disposal.
Mhm.
Are like, I'm sorry, are there like, there's got to be tens, hundreds of other municipalities with the same issue. Like, is there some
Yeah.
other way to like, I mean, it seems like there should be a more economical way to deal with that if everybody,
I know Larkspur is pretty much doing the same thing we're doing, which is bringing in all the tanks because I've seen them over by like Bevmo. Um, and I like, Sarenfell has enough space where they can deal with their own stuff, but they're not exactly willing to share with us. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep asking around and see what others are doing, but right now we don't really have a good solution. So
What kind of yardage are you pulling out? Like how many cubic yards?
I don't know off the top of my head. It was a decent amount this year.
Like thousands or hundreds or?
Um, I want to say like hundreds,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
The solution a long time ago is where the village is now, where people would just back up their truck and that was just one big public dump, basically. So, like you said, there's no real estate like there used to be. So,
Yeah. All right, and then oh yeah, also the 3 check valves. That wasn't really on our work plan, but we took care of that one this year. And then just a few others. 420 Sausalito Street. There's a drainage easement that we had to make some improvements to because it basically would like cover up the inlet there and overflow into this person's yard. And we've been making a lot of improvements to our GIS system to try and improve the maps. And we're working with Marin Map to try and update that so the public can see our storm system online. Spring and fall gate maintenance, which is just our regular maintenance work. And then just various other repairs to the storm system and pump station. So that's pretty much a list of everything we were able to accomplish this year.
Question. So you mentioned that there were some staffing issues on the maintenance side. Are you down a person or how are you doing right now?
We're down 3 people right now.
Really? So 3 open positions?
Yeah. Well, one, we're hiring for 2, and then we have 1 person out for medical reasons. So,
Oh, okay.
like long term. So it's been a struggle. Our team's like really been having a tough time just keeping up with everything. So, we're working on hiring 2 people right now. So hopefully that'll be helpful.
So Chris, the one other pump station that I always keep an eye on is the Big G pump station behind Five Points Fitness. Because the channel under Paradise has been sealed off and the pump station the water's pumped out through the Madera Del Presidio pump station. I always look at that as a pump station that could be eliminated or incorporated into this much larger watershed that, it has a very small watershed as far as I can determine.
Yeah, it's basically just a ditch behind Nugget Market. That's the only area it serves. Our consultant looked into that specifically for the storm drain master plan, but currently it's at such a low elevation that we can't abandon it. We'd have to deepen the wet well at San Clemente Pump Station in order to like drain that water across the street and pump it out. So unfortunately, we can't abandon it until we do some major improvements to San Clemente Pump Station.
Well, we've improved the San Clemente. We got the new manifold on that, right?
Yeah, that was on the exterior, like
Mhm.
where we're moving out of. But this would be basically digging out the wet well and going deeper inside the pump station.
Mhm.
The water goes in, so that's a whole other effort. And I think they did identify that in the master plan. If we ever did work on that pump station
Mhm.
to replace the pumps, upgrade it, then we should include it.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the ditch behind Nugget Market and looking at the water level that's in the watershed that Big G evacuates, would seem like the level in the channel is low enough that, it would keep the couple of low properties from flooding there. I think there's really only that one property, the residence and the professional building that's there that's low.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for now we have to keep it going because yeah, if you abandon it now, it would flood that parking lot regularly. The Nugget Market and the gym there and everything.
No, but I mean, the Nugget Market is controlled by the San Clemente pump station, right?
The San Clemente pump station pumps out the channel behind Nugget Market.
Yeah.
But that Big G is in between that channel and Nugget Market. So
No, it just pumps from a small uh, area behind the residence and the professional building and the Madera del Presidio Drive that it pumps into the channel behind Nugget Market.
I don't know if I have an exhibit to show. Yeah, it does. I mean, we looked into this in depth, and it's necessary. It would cause flooding if we didn't have it. It's very minor, and it's only draining this little area, but that area is at such a low elevation that there would be several homes, and those businesses would be flooded if it wasn't.
I'll have to look at that with you sometime so that I understand uh, the whole thing because I guess I've got a simplistic non-engineering view of it. So I'll try to do that with you or Nick one time.
Okay, yeah. Let's see if I can. I mean, yeah. Looking at it from above for the map doesn't really show much. Yeah. I mean, here, this is the Big G pump station, and it's draining this area.
Yeah.
But if this fills up with water, this road's at a higher elevation, it'll flood this whole area, which is also at a very low elevation.
No, I think my idea was that you would take the pump station out and then create the channel going to the bigger channel. Then in other words, that would just drain or be at the same level as the channel behind Nugget and 5 Points.
I mean, yeah, you technically could. This is a levee of sorts,
Yeah.
so you could run it around, but that's a huge project. I mean,
Well, no, if you just took the levee out where the pump station was, it's only about 10 feet.
then you'd definitely be flooding these businesses. But I mean, we can
I'll look at it with you
offline.
to
Yeah,
get a better understanding.
it's hard looking just from above, but yeah, there's some different elevations there.
Okay. I'm just trying to save the town some money.
Yeah. I mean, that pump station's actually like in pretty good condition, Big G. So yeah. I mean, there's like some small operating costs, but
Yeah.
compared to our bigger ones, it's not.
Well, mainly not replacing it when the time came to replace it would be
Yeah.
the big expense. So,
No, I don't think we would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just continuing on, so now looking at our draft 2026 work plan, also attached to the agenda, also difficult to see. But I summarize most of the items on that are flood related on here. So the first one, secure grant funding and initiate a project to fortify and raise the existing Marina Village flood berm, including public outreach, design, engineering options, and environmental review. So that one, we've talked about it a few times. We're just continuing on because we haven't been able to locate funding yet for it. And then construct flood control and storm drain projects, storm drain pump station, short-term repairs. We split it into two phases because there's a lot of different work types on the pump stations, but yeah, those would both happen in the next calendar year. I think that actually should say 2026 storm drain replacement project. I'll have to update that one, which is basically just the next iteration, replacing storm drains identified in the master plan. And then these ones are just projects that'll be in design. Oh, there it is, 2026 storm drain replacement project. Open channel maintenance projects. That one we'll try and get going next year. Shorebird Marsh Pump Station is in design. And then this large trash capture project. This one's a requirement from the water board through our NPDES permit, but basically by 2030, they're requiring all the cities and county and Marin to install trash capture devices in our storm system to basically intercept any trash before it reaches bodies of water. So this one, we have an EPA grant through McStop, it's the county organization. And then also, and so that pays for the design, and then Caltrans is pretty much fully funding the construction. So that's pretty convenient for us because it's basically fully funded. But this is just like the first of many projects we're gonna have to initiate around town to capture trash, which is, it's like one more draw on the town's funds that we weren't planning for. So that's the only difficult part.
Question, was the town a part of any kind of like data to see kind of really how much trash is getting out there?
Yeah, so the McStop actually led that, and they did surveys. So they would go around town and basically rate it. I think it's like low, medium, high. Sort of, I don't think I've got those right, but basically, like the areas with low, we're not required to capture the trash. It's only the medium and high. So, which tended to be like the business areas, most of the areas along Tamil Vista and near the malls. Like those are all areas where we're required to capture trash that is just out and about.
Can we charge the businesses if it's mostly coming from businesses?
Yeah, so I'm actually, it's on my to-do list. We can put it in our municipal code to basically when they redevelop to require them to install these devices. So the county's already done that, and I think we're gonna try and implement that.
Yeah, sounds like it would make sense.
Yeah.
To take the burden off the town.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking, we live right, by the Cove School. I'm picking up trash all the time, like little bits of plastic and stuff from the school. I try to get to it before it gets into the streets. So
Yeah, is that what we're talking about? Just people who drop trash and it just ends up in the storm drain?
Yeah, just any
So is it-
trash that's
yeah.
out and about, and it ends up in the storm and gets.
Yeah, is there any way to like have some public awareness messaging or signage or something like that so people can take pride in their town and
Yeah, I mean, we
not throw garbage?
every storm drain around town, we have drains to bay or drains to creeks. And then McStop does a ton of public outreach around the county. They basically, the water board requires it, and McStop basically does it for us. And they do, community cleanups where they go and pick up trash. So there's a lot of outreach and a lot of activity already going on. But yeah, these are all that's just one of many like requirements from the water board that takes a lot of time and resources.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to coastal cleanup that Dave Bell and I are both have been involved with over the years. Uh, when we started this, sponsored by the Community Foundation and the Lions Club, between the homeless encampments and um, the parking lot at Cost Plus, we would fill up over a 10-yard debris box with stuff that had been abandoned, dumped, as well as trash. And because DPW has closed off the end of Industrial Way to keep people from getting out there in cars and dumping, and Cost Plus has no longer let people live back there, the amount of trash is much less. When we do coastal cleanup, we do it with a pickup truck. And you talk to a lot of people that come out for coastal cleanup and they say, yeah, I do this all the time. I, take a picker when I go for a walk. And the town, I think, is much cleaner. They're still, compared to say what everybody talks about when they visit Japan, it's still not nearly as clean as it should be. But, I think we're making progress. But the continued awareness, continued emphasis on that, it's all important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think McStop, they move around from city to city and organize trash pickup days, and they're always looking for volunteers to kind of initiate or different organizations to help them out. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's good to look into. So that was pretty much it for the 2026 work plan. I mean, most of the items have just come straight out of our master plan. We're just continuing our 10-year plan to try and take care of all the very high priority recommendations that they put in there.
So, I mean, it's, following the 10-year master plan, are we on pace timing wise and budget wise? Like what's the status of like, are we on track and what's the budget look like?
Yeah, we're currently on track, but I think that we spent we did some maintenance work last year, like cleaning pipes. We did the 75,000 this year. We spent $1 million on storm drain replacements in the current project, and then a few other projects I'll go over shortly. We started the Shorebird Marsh pump station, so we basically, we've been checking all the boxes. We're definitely on track right now. I think funding is going to become a problem down the road, especially when we're ready to build the Shorebird Marsh pump station, because that project's, I think, $8 million. So the town's going to have to find funding for that. So that's a few years away, but definitely it's on our minds.
I just had a question in regard to the trash collection. When the shopping centers have put in rain gardens in their parking lot, does that intercepts the trash?
Yeah, that's considered trash capture for those
Yeah.
areas. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or things you'd like to see on the work plan?
I'm just looking at the master plan right now to look at that, like the baseline kind of projects and stuff. So that's kind of the phasing.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we're just trying to follow that, and we've been just, each project we're just starting at the top of the list and trying to check the boxes on their recommendations. So
One of the other things that Sachi and I have talked about is signage in Mariner Cove when streets are flooded, and if the residents that are responsible and at the sites could also be involved in putting out no wake signs or street closed when it happens at night or on the weekend, or when the town staff has got their hands full with flooding some other place.
yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about that last time, or maybe it was an email, but that was the plan, and I thought our
Definitely the ones by the Cove School
Yeah.
signs, I think they're placed kind of in anticipation, I think, and so sometimes they need to get kind of like moved into actually onto the street because people are, can drive through still, right? Because they're a little bit to the side of the road.
Mm.
So there's a lot of timing that has to
Yeah.
happen, right? Kind of go, and I don't know, so by Cove, there have been signs,
Mhm.
like in the, definitely in November, and I think there was some out in this last series.
Mhm.
I don't know if they made it all the way over to your end of the neighborhood.
Well, no, the other place that we've had problems is Seawolf at Golden Hind Passage, and the check valve isn't working, and so we really haven't had that with these high tides and everything. So, if the check valves are working in these other sites, you don't need it. But on from the Cove School up to the pump station, that's low, and it comes between the houses. So that's going to be there until we have a some kind of seawall.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, our crews have been putting them out, and sometimes it's tough to time it right, right when the water's coming in and right when the water's coming out. So, um, they've been struggling a bit with that, but I requested they leave some signs out, so they haven't done that. We can like put some outside of our pump station.
Yeah, if they're at either the pump stations on either end, I think they've been diligent about picking them up and
Mhm.
taking them away after like, I don't think they were around like after what, like Friday was the last
Mhm.
big.
Okay.
hurricane. So, but no, the guys have been good. They definitely got them out there, at least on our end.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear though that the
Yeah, no, this they fixed, cleaned it out and fixed that problem. So, that's all good from that standpoint.
I agree that 167, I think, is an area where it does still, I think, on.
Yeah, both the 167 does have a check valve, but as Chris said, they need to check it and clean it out again. And then we do need to put, on track, Key Largo and 223 Golden Hind Passage for check valves.
Okay.
All right. Any other future agenda items? Oh, because we don't have a grant because Trump has pulled everything from FEMA, we're falling back on sandbags to maintain the Marina Village levee.
Yeah. Well, I have some project updates prior to future agenda items, so I can talk about that.
Okay.
Um, so we've got 5 projects here that are kind of in the works. So starting with the Hart Street Connector Path, I mentioned that one earlier. So that was a project to build a connector bike path between the Corte Madera Larkspur Path and Palm Avenue, which is kind of a shortcut that a lot of people take to get downtown into schools. So that project is complete, and I think it's a big success. A lot of people like riding through there. But underneath it, we have our new storm system. So this was only a medium priority project, but because we're building new infrastructure, we decided it's the time to replace it. So we upgraded the pipes to a minimum 30-inch diameter. And this drains, actually, the water comes from Larkspur. It goes under the path, and then it comes through here and continues down towards High Canal and Town Park. So, yeah, we have all new storm drains now. I think it should help a lot alleviate, flooding in major storms. So, and then where you see here, there was, 2 pipes that are parallel is because there was such low cover. You can see there's like not much road over the top of them that we had to go with smaller pipes and just do 2 of them next to each other. So that was a big project. I think we spent like 240,000 on the storm drains portion of it alone. And that one's complete. So you can go take a look if you haven't biked through yet. And then the next one, the 2025 storm drain replacement project, that's going on right now. So here's a few pictures from it. One of the highest priority, which was the top two or the left two pictures, is right off Sonora. This was a corrugated metal pipe that had failed and basically created this huge sinkhole and landslide. So we were really racing to try and fix this one before the rainy season. And so yeah, that center picture is, you know, the almost finished product. So that one's done and right in time because I think it rained shortly after. And then on the right, that's on Nellen Avenue, kind of near Big Five. We're just replacing some more corrugated metal pipes that are corroded and didn't have a bottom. So they're just making their way around and replacing all these pipes that are damaged and needed to be fixed.
So the Sonora Way property, is that open area on the bend there?
Yeah, exactly.
So were the neighbors upset that you fixed that? They probably wanted that to slide away so it would be undevelopable.
Maybe I wasn't out there, but there might have been some comments. I'm not sure. Yeah. So yeah, and there's a handful of other ones. So the contractor's just been going around, and luckily we haven't had too much rain, so they've been making good progress. Oh, sorry, going back. So I've talked about this one already. Pump station short-term repairs, phase 1, that'll be bid. We have to wait till after the rainy season, so we're aiming to start construction in May, and that's doing a bunch of replacing control panels on the pump stations. Basically all of them except Shorebird, because Shorebird's going to be completely replaced. We're replacing anodes, just doing a bunch of small work to keep the pump stations functional. So that's phase 1. Phase 2, that one's basically fully designed. Phase 2 is close as well. So we're going to try and build both of those next year. Shorebird Marsh Pump Station, like I said, we did an RFP, hired a consultant, and they've started design. So they're trying to take care of the time-intensive items like dealing with PG&E, working with Smart because it's along the Smart right away, and just kind of getting that all going and analyzing the old pump station to see like what exactly we need to remove. I don't think we can reuse much on it, but potentially like the concrete wet well and head walls and that sort of thing. So that one's underway.
That's all on pilings too, right?
Yeah, I believe it's all on filings. And it's kind of right in time because we actually had there was a hole opened up in the top of one of the force mains and was gushing water. So it's definitely getting to the point where it needs to be replaced. And then the last one is the Marina Village flood berm, which we've given a few updates on. So we never heard back basically from FEMA. It sounds like at this point the chances of getting federal funding are slim to none.
Yeah, Trump has canceled all of these things that relate to sea level rise or climate change. Yeah.
Yeah.
California's been a particular target, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like
course.
Yeah, and some of the other programs, things kind of take.
Of course.
Yeah. So I think we applied for an FMA grant, and I don't think they completely went away with that program, but I think they've just gutted
We
it.
can consider it dormant for at least 3 years.
3 more years.
I was wondering though whether we've looked at Prop 4.
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm just looking at it right now, and I can maybe go offline and see if I see anything that might be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're open to suggestions. We've applied for 2 state grants through the Coastal Commission, and I can't remember the other one, but we're kind of waiting. We're just waiting to hear back from those. But for now, we're kind of stalled on that project. We really need to get funding to begin design. I think we're going to try. We're going to try and just use some town funds to do bare minimum, like Chair Bundy mentioned, like putting out sandbags, and doing some surveying, but beyond that, we don't really have any funding for improvements. So
David was commenting that the sandbags that you'd put out last year or the year before are really holding up nicely. The black ones, that they're not deteriorating. So it's, maintaining a really functional barrier.
that's good. Yeah, I know. A few of those high tides, though, the water is like right up to them, so it's not a whole lot of freeboard there.
Freeboard, yeah. But it looks like it is through Coastal Conservancy, so
Oh, okay, so we may.
maybe, but maybe it may be worth a closer look on that.
Okay. Wait, sorry, what did you say that was?
Prop 4, I can send you a link at least, so, and I can do a little digging and maybe see if we can turn up something, at least to advance the design, right?
Yeah.
So,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, at this point, anything will help.
well, and because the design and the permitting itself is going to take a while, so.
Yeah.
Good to kind of just keep putting some effort into that, I think.
So, Chris, one thought occurred to me thinking about the excavated material that you're trying to dispose of. Could that be placed in the town park at the southern end of the Low Canal, which is, doesn't, have very much of a drainage channel. It's pretty shallow at that point. And if we were able to build the soil up to create a deeper channel by building up around it, that would, I would think, provide some degree of flood protection for Madera Village, the homes just to the east of there, and would give a channel with greater capacity.
I mean, yeah, that's a possibility if there's room to place material and if it's in
It seems like that's a low part of the park also. And yeah, I mean, you convinced me that the the level there is closer to the top of the channel than it is further down as it goes into Lagoon One, and where they come together. But it would seem like that would be a place where you could do that. The ultimate goal would be to build build up the park, which would probably make it more usable in the wintertime, but we would create some greater capacity in that channel itself.
Yeah. I mean, it would help. Yeah, because that's all a low area and it's all sinking.
Yeah. And so, and that would, everything would be done in-house that way.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have to look at that more, but it is an option.
Yeah.
I think Low Canal would be on our list of channels that we would also are looking at dredging for that open channel maintenance project too.
Yeah.
Because that one, like you said, is getting a little bit full. So
Yeah. And the other thing you'd want to, if you can, is dredge and just leave the spoils, there on the side to help build that up.
yeah, I guess it's just we have the park on one side and people's backyards on the other. So it's just finding.
It seems like there's a good deal of room on the park side, and then also some on the house side.
Yeah, so we can definitely look
I
at
think
that.
it'd be worth looking at.
Yeah, getting rid of spoils close by saves a ton of money, but it's
I
just,
mean, I guess it just depends on like how much square footage. I feel like along the bike path across from like CHP by the little lagoon area, and it's not a huge amount of
Mhm.
land, but I wonder if you could just create a
No,
little
no,
bit.
no, no. They did it right.
Well, I'm just thinking on kind of, I don't know. I feel like I know there's dumpsters that are there sometimes when they're doing the weed removal and stuff like that.
yeah, I mean that's the access for our pump station right
Oh,
now.
okay.
But I mean, yeah, like Vice Chair Bell mentioned, our crews were using an area close to where the the Echo connector path is now, but we got complaints from people because it's a big wet pile sitting there. It's
Yeah.
not very unsightly, and that's pretty much like a linear park. So nobody wants to look at it, but yeah, I mean, there's really like
So there's nothing like with Larkspur, like, so all the land like between TJ's and stuff,
that's all Larkspur.
it all Larkspur?
Yeah. Basically just south of Bevmo is like right at Warrenham is
Is where the town line is?
yeah.
But maybe there's a way to like jointly look for something with the town of Larkspur.
Yeah, it was suggested, it was brought up by McStop actually, because at some point when all the cities put in these trash capture devices, we have to go bring that trash somewhere.
Right.
So they were actually talking about it. I don't know if it's gone anywhere yet, but at some point it would be really great if we could all find land to use. So I'll keep looking around.
Yeah, I get that though. There's not like a ton of open flat space
Yeah.
in the town.
Yeah.
Have you guys researched using geotextile tubes for dewatering?
No, I haven't seen that.
That's actually.
Basically like a large diameter geotextile tube that gets filled with slurry, and it's got holes in it that are big enough to let water out essentially, and it just drains the water out, and it's not the most unsightly thing, but we've used those a lot for small sediment projects, and you're
Okay.
able to dewater stuff right on site and meet NIPIDIS permits, and then you just have the partially dried sediments inside that can be removed
And maybe
and
you put
reused.
those over onto the levee,
Put those on the levee, yeah.
Yeah,
crack them open
but I
and.
have a lot of links. I can send you some, but that's,
Do companies rent those?
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
It's similar to the tubes that they were using in Corte Madera Creek when they just did the recent rebuild of the downstream portion of the concrete channel, where they took out half the channel by College and Marin. And so to dam it off, they used one of those geotubes. In that case, filled with probably air and water, but it's basically used as a dam. But those same tubes can be used to dewater sediments. So
Okay.
you
Yeah.
can rent them and then they'll take them back.
Okay. Yeah, we can look into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Have we gone over future agenda items? We pitched a lot of things. Anything else as future agenda items?
Keep on going on, Chris. You guys are doing a
Yep.
good
Keep
job.
on going.
Well, can I
Okay.
ask whatever happened to our last meeting, this waterfront zoning ordinance?
Sorry. What,
I think it passed.
The proposed zoning ordinance amendment to allow waterfront property owners who raise.
Yeah,
That
that passed.
Important path.
yeah, I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our neighbor actually did the work.
Oh, yeah, the presentation of Blossom. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's raising his house as we speak.
Okay. Selection of board chair and vice chair. And I just want to say I've enjoyed my work on the board. I want to continue to work on the board. And, you know, I've been serving as chair because I hadn't gotten anybody else to step up or had the extra time to do it. And because, you know, engineering, Chris, Nate, you know, actually do all the work on it. You know, I just sort of sit here behind the microphone and call out agenda items. So I'm opening it up for nominations for board chair and vice chair.
With great respect to your service, Dr. Bundy, I nominate Nathan.
I'll second that nomination.
And take a vote.
Take a vote. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Thanks. Happy to do it. Happy to do it. Yeah. Thank
Okay. Happy to have you do it.
you. Thanks, Bob.
Your turn. Okay. Vice chair?
Yeah, vice chair. Yeah.
Nominations for vice chair. Who is our vice chair now?
Vice Chair Bell.
Oh,
I nominate Sachi.
Okay, I will accept.
I'll second that.
okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Great.
David and I are retired, but we will still be active participants.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.
Hey.
Good meeting, Chris. Thank you.